Now, I had a very interesting conversation a couple of weeks back, the last time Donald Trump was indicted, with a man by the name of Joe Walsh, former congressman and presidential candidate. He's a fine man. We had a good row. We've had sort of words ever since then. But just to remind you of what happened the last time we were on Piers Morgan Uncensored, here it is.
You're telling me I'm holier than thou?
You are.
This guy tried to end our damn democracy.
Well, he didn't, though, did he?
Yeah,
but he didn't do it.
Sets me off.
Why don't you move on and just get over it, Joe? Get over it.
Get over it. The man is going to be the Republican Party nominee, and he has a shot.
And you're helping him. And you're helping him.
Country.
But you're helping him, Joe. You're helping him back to the White House. You're helping him back to the White House with your holier-than-thou attitude. It's ridiculous.
In American history, who else has done this?
Nobody else has done it to anybody else either, because Trump is your... do you think about Trump when you go to sleep at night? Do you have nightmares about him? You know, move on, man. Mr. Joe Walsh, listen, I appreciate you coming back on, Joe. Nice to see you. How you doing?
Hey, Michael, I'm well. By the way, we had a row because I lost my top. You stayed cool, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, listen, there's nothing wrong with it. The thing I love about talking to guys like you is that you're passionate about it, and I have no problem with you, Lizzie. You were kind enough to apologise to me. Let me tell you, there was no need for an apology. Not necessary. We are both, you know, reasonably grown-up individuals. We can handle it. You know, I get shouted at by people all the time. Yeah. Some of them even live with me, you know, so don't worry. You know, it's not a thing. But I wanted to talk to you today, though, because yet another indictment has dropped, and I see that you're just as enthusiastic about it on social media as you were the last time around. I'm going to put it to you, though, this time. Again, we're being told this is the most serious crime that he's committed since the last most serious crime he committed. I think using RICO against a former president, and I know a bit about RICO because I worked in New York City when Rudolph Giuliani was the district attorney for the Southern District, and he kind of invented RICO to get the mafia. And I think it's kind of curious that they're using RICO now not only against Donald Trump, but against Rudolph Giuliani. It's not necessary, is it?
Well, I don't know. We'll find out, Michael. Again, just for everybody listening right now, Trump was indicted again. Let's not lose track of the bigger picture. Donald Trump was indicted again because he tried to overturn an American election. We can debate whether what he did was criminal, and he'll have his day in court. When it comes to RICO, it's clear what she's trying to do is prove that Trump led a criminal enterprise. I mean, 141 specific potential acts of racketeering activity, 18, 19 people all in on it together, trying to overturn Georgia's election results. That's a big deal. I don't know if the RICO will work. We'll see.
But it's an unusual move, it seems to me, from another politically inspired, you know, prosecutor who wants to see their name in lights, a little bit like the guy in Washington, similar to the guy in New York, similar to the people in Florida. It's all creating a pattern, and you've acknowledged already that yet even more popularity will come Donald Trump's way as a result of this particular prosecution, right?
Oh, I think Trump, Michael, was going to be the nominee before all these indictments. I've always thought Trump's going to be the nominee. This is Donald Trump's party. It's not a party I belong to anymore. It's his party. These indictments have strengthened him. And Michael, you talk about another politically, you know, inclined prosecutor. My question always is this, though. If a prosecutor has credible evidence that Donald Trump committed crimes, should he be charged? Yes or no? I mean, I think that's the question.
Well, many people are arguing, aren't they, at the moment, as to whether or not politics has completely poisoned the well of justice in the United States of America. And you asked me a question the last time we were on when you said, you know, who else has done this as president? Well, I would ask you a question, you know, which prosecutor in American history has ever used a RICO statute to go after a politician?
I'll answer that this way. None. Right. No, this is a first.
So it's unprecedented.
Well, sure it is, Michael, but it was unprecedented for Trump to be indicted a week or two ago by Jack Smith federally trying to overturn an election. It's unprecedented, Michael, because in the country, in the history of this country, we've never, ever, ever, ever had a president try to halt the peaceful transfer of power, and I would argue then try to lead an effort to violently overturn an election. So yeah, man, we're in uncharted territory.
Except the problem for your argument is that he didn't stop the peaceful transition of power, because the peaceful transition of power happened on time, on demand, and when it was supposed to. And there was no delay to Joe Biden taking over the reins of the presidency.
Michael, agreed. I said he tried to. He tried to halt the peaceful transfer of power. We've never had a president in our history.
But he didn't try very hard, did he?
Who tried to. Michael, if you try to rob a bank but you're not successful, that's still a crime.
Right. So would you say that anybody who tried to overturn the result of an election has committed a crime?
Well, over 1,000 individuals so far, and it'll probably hit 2,000, have already been charged for what they did on January 6th, trying to overturn an election. Yes, so
but those are people, presumably, you're referring to who were arrested as a result of what happened on Capitol Hill. Well, they're not trying to No, they were not charged with trying to overturn an election. They were charged, surely, with public order offences and with causing a riot.
Almost all of them were charged as well with obstructing an official proceeding, the certification of the election result. The vast majority were charged with that as well.
Yes, but the proceeding was the proceeding in the Capitol building that day, not the actual election, surely.
No, but that proceeding certified the election result.
Yes, but what I'm saying is they weren't,
Michael,
all right,
try to stop that.
Okay, well, let me read you something I have here in front of me. And it's headlined Washington, D.C., datelined 18th of December 2019. It says this, a news story. Today, Democrats in the House of Representatives voted to overturn the results of the 2016 election. Congressman Biggs voted against this vindictive partisan sham and issued the following statement. Democrats have pursued a predetermined outcome for 3 years and today voted to overturn the will of the 63 million Americans who voted for Donald J. Trump. This is a dark day for the United States of America. Why have all those Democrats in the House of Representatives not been charged with some kind of RICO statute for trying to overturn the result of the 2016 election?
Well, Michael, if you want to go down that route, then you should charge a majority of House Republicans who all voted not to certify the election. There were, in 2017, there were a handful of Democrats who refused to certify the election. We had a large majority of House Republicans in 2020 who voted not to certify the election. Right. So if you want to charge all those people with trying to
I don't want to charge anyone.
Then go ahead and do it.
This is the point. This is your argument. You say you want to charge people who wanted to overturn the result of the election. So there's now a load of Democrats that you want to charge, and there's a load of Republicans that you want to charge. You might as well just charge everybody. Why don't you just get on with the business of running the country and stop trying to prosecute people because you don't agree with their politics?
Well, no, Michael, again, maybe there are some people doing that. I'm not on a horse trying to go after Donald Trump because I disagree with his politics. I love going at it with you, but I think what he did was wrong. We'll find out, man, if it's a crime. We'll find out. He'll have his day in court to defend himself, but at best, my God,
that's what you said to me last time. But that's what you said last time. We'll find out in court. He'll have his day in court. But he keeps getting more and more court dates, and, nobody seems to be quite sure why. Because surely this is just now a vendetta brought by people who are against Donald Trump. They can't stand him. They want to try and stop him getting back into the White House. And as you say, they're failing because with every single step that they take, he gets a step closer.
But, Michael, I guess the question is, if there's credible evidence that he committed crimes, should he be charged, yes or no?
Well, I don't know if there is credible evidence that he committed crimes.
Hold on.
I tell you what, you asked me that question before. I haven't been led to believe that there is credible evidence that he committed crimes.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked, my friend. I said if you thought there was credible evidence, should he be charged? Yes or no?
If there was credible evidence shown to me that he had committed a crime, well, of course, because that would mean that there would be a reason to charge him. But so far, I haven't seen one. And all I've seen so far is a lot of people who don't like Donald Trump waving a lot of banners in the air and claiming that they're going to be the ones to take him down. And that's what they want to do. But unfortunately for them, it's a vanity project. And I think using RICO, which was invented by Rudolph Giuliani, to charge Rudolph Giuliani, you know, I happen to think that Rudolph Giuliani has kind of become a bit of a laughing stock figure. However, when he was the Southern District Attorney in the United States District of the south of New York City, he was a hero to an awful lot of people because he took the mafia down, he put John Gotti behind bars, he arrested Michael Milken, he took the Wall Street insider traders down, and he did a great job for America and for the world. And for him to be treated like some kind of gangster in a cheap suit, I think is really unbecoming of the justice system of America.
Oh, wait a minute, Michael. I don't disagree with you that about anything that Rudy did way back then in another lifetime. I don't disagree with that. But that doesn't excuse Rudy if he committed crimes now.
Well,
and if you read this 98-page indictment, there are listed 141 acts of potential racketeering activity, 41 counts. 41 criminal counts in this indictment.
Some of which involved speeches, right?
Some of which involves lying, soliciting justice, asking, but Michael, asking top-level Justice Departments to lie.
No.
To do that is a crime.
No. Also,
that's a crime.
No, but also included in the indictment is instances of Donald Trump making statements which your guy, or woman, I should say, now in Georgia, says is some kind of anti-RICO crime. Well, making a speech as a politician and claiming something that isn't true, you better build a lot of prisons because there's a lot of lies being told by an awful lot of politicians, and they're always happy.
Michael, it's well beyond that. It's not. Again, it's lying in court filings. It's filing fake electors. It's pressure. It's threatening and intimidating election workers down in Fulton County.
Right.
This was all part of. She makes the case it was all part of a conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you the same question I asked you last time. Why has it taken 2.5 years for this case to be brought? Could it just be the coincidence that Donald Trump's running for president again?
No. I think.
No, of course not.
I think Jack Smith last week and Fannie Willis this week, if they could have brought this earlier, they would have. They wanted to make sure they did this right.
Why didn't they?
Huh?
Why didn't they?
Michael, this takes some time. I wish it hadn't taken so much time.
That's not true. You know that's not true.
It takes some time.
No, you know that's not true because in Smith's case in D.C., he said they didn't want to bring the case right after the case of the riots in Capitol Hill because they didn't wish to wind anybody up any further. They didn't wish to create a revolutionary of temperature. Yes, they did. They didn't want to bring those. They didn't want to bring charges against Donald Trump in 2021, did they? Because they felt that it would be dangerous. That's what they said.
Michael Bull, how could you bring a case against Donald Trump right after January 6th without any investigation?
Well, because they didn't have. Sorry, I thought they had all this. No, sorry, all of the things that he did before.
No.
He did before that.
My God.
Most of the things that he did before that.
Michael, it took a January 6th committee. It took the Justice Department looking into it. It took the appointment of a special counsel and then the special counsel doing that work. It takes some time. Look, I think Trump should have been thrown into the slammer the day after January 6th, but that's not very American, and that's just me. But it takes time.
But, you know, they've tried to impeach him. They failed. They've tried to, you know, have him locked up. They failed. They've had an election which they won. That doesn't make them happy. They now still want to bury him somewhere in the ground and make sure that there's a big stone over him so he doesn't come back from the dead. I mean, it's pathetic, isn't it? Come on. As I said to you before, I think it's time to move on and it's time to just forget about it and let the public make a judgment. If the Americans think, as you do, that he's committed crimes, then surely they won't vote for him. But you know that's not true because most Americans who vote for Trump don't believe he committed crimes. They believe that it's all cooked up by a selection of democratically inveigled prosecutors. They are.
And Michael, whether you're right or not, in this country,
I'm always right.
Matter. Michael, you're mostly right. It doesn't matter what Americans think. The only thing that matters.
Oh, really? Is that going to be your next election stance? It doesn't matter what Americans think. Joe Walsh.
Well, yeah. If you stop the clip right there, that would be a pretty poor-ass election stunt. It doesn't matter what Americans think when it comes to the rule of law. You go by the facts and the law. It doesn't matter whether most Americans think Trump should be prosecuted enough or not. That doesn't have anything to do with this. You look at the facts in the case. Did he commit crimes? Period. End of story. And then again, Michael, I go way beyond the criminal aspect here. I believe he's a traitor. He tried to overturn an American election. Michael, so did the House of Representatives. Oh,
Democrats.
Michael.
They've voted for it. They voted to overturn it.
Michael, show me the fake elector schemes. Show me the pressuring Justice Department officials to lie under oath. Come on, Michael.
Well,
it's
here,
more than
I'm
just
showing you.
that.
I'm showing you the Democrats in the House of Representatives on the 18th of December 2019 voted to overturn the result of the 2016 election. They did.
Well, first of all, they didn't vote in 2019. That was 3 years after the election. In 2017, they voted not to certify the election. A handful of Democrats, compared to 180 Republicans in the House.
Isn't that the same thing? If you vote to overturn the result of an election, isn't that a crime?
No, they didn't vote to overturn the election. They voted not to certify the results. I think it's wrong, Michael. But again, 10 times that number of Republicans in the House in 2020 did the same thing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
I'm not asking to charge them.
No, you just want to charge Trump because you don't like him.
No,
that's the point. You've just proved the point. You've proved the point, haven't you?
No, because Michael, that's a legal process. As a sitting House member in Congress, you have a right to vote not to certify an election result. That's not a crime.
Right. Okay. Well, listen, I think at least we've made some progress, Joe, because I don't think you're holier than thou anymore. I think you've seen the light.
Michael, I enjoy you. I think you're good.
Listen, I am good. It's true. We can agree on that. But listen, I just think, when's the next indictment? Because we'll get you on for the next one as well. Is that it?
This is it.
Are you sure?
Is it.
Just the 4?
This is it.
All right. Well, listen, delight talking to you, Joe. Joe Walsh, former Congressman, presidential candidate, no longer holier than thou, but still convinced that Donald Trump is a criminal.